have been working on cloud hands, how to get in and out of cloud hands. We're going to continue in intermediate advanced class with the second section. The next move up is high pat on horse or pat high horse. And then we get into the kicks. How far did the senior instructor get in class yesterday? Were you there?
Yes, we didn't get into the kicks, but we got to pat the high horse. And he said, okay, we're going to continue. The rest of you guys try and keep up.
Okay.
Going, ah.
Okay, all right. So what I would like to do now is I'm going to break from sequence just a little bit. And I want to talk about the two types of kicks that happen coming up in the rest of this section. So it's kick, kick, kick with some moves you know and some transitions, but kick, 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 kick. And there's two kinds. And so I'd like to just kind of expose you to how those two kicks are constructed. So there's two kinds. One of them is called the separates, separate right and left. And then there's heel kicks. We break them into we call it the minor kicking section and the major kicking section. If you Google that, you will not find anything. That's just our internal way of organizing them. So the separate kicks, just loosely, are instep kicks. Like imagine like kicking a groin or a paddle up here or trying to kick a soccer ball into a goal, okay? Those are the separates. The heel kicks are going to be just what they sound like, a heel kick. And they are going to be like I'm trying to kick through a door. Like if I need to kick it open because I'm locked out or there's something that I need to break in, bam, that's the heel kick, correct. So they're two different things that we're trying to do. And they're wired a little bit differently. Well, they're wired a lot differently. So the first one I'm just going to start here, but let's not worry about it. I'm going to face the camera here. So try it with me, kind of get on the sides of me. We're going to get from pat high horse. And again, this is just a walk in the park. This is not for proficiency. This is just to kind of get you comfortable with it. And I'm doing it facing the camera, so if you're watching from home, you're not behind me. That's not super helpful. But it is meaning it's going to be flipped for you, so perhaps observing it might be easier for you. So let's get into pat high horse from single whip. We'll settle in single whip. And for pat high horse, you're going to step up halfway, put the weight on the back foot, switch the hands, turn the waist, and you're here. Does everybody feel kind of okay with that? All right, so just bear with me. We're going to walk through separate right foot. You're going to step out at an angle, heel toe. Shift to that left, circle the arms down, and notice naturally my heel has come up here. It just naturally does when I shift my weight. And I'm going to bring that foot up to here, and my arms are going to make an X with my left hand closest to me. Let's try that again from pat high horse. So we are here. And so I'm going to step out a little bit, shift, lower the hands, release the right heel, step up, make an X. Now, I don't expect you to necessarily remember this. In this one, the hands don't cross. They stay in their own little swimming lanes. So don't do this. That comes later. The separates, these stay separate. Okay? There we go. So, here, okay, now, I'm going to lower the hands, and I'm going to open the hands. And then I'm going to keep my weight on my back foot. These hands are going to come out. This one's going to be higher than this one. And as I feel myself kind of want to tip back a little bit, this foot should naturally come up a little bit to counterbalance. And then we'll talk about this, but I put it down at an angle and I close my hands. Okay, so that was the first limp through of this, but I wanted to kind of talk about some of the greatest hits of how it works. So there is upper follows lower a lot in this, just like every other Tai Chi move, but a lot in this one. So if you can think of this move in terms of weight and upper follows lower, I think it'll help. So here I am, and then I step, and I shift my weight, which is what causes these arms to rotate down, which is what lifts this heel up, and they come up to here. Now I lower, and I open, and as this hand comes up and this hand comes down, I've got more pressure on this standing leg, and then the foot naturally should sort of slip out. Yep, release. When you're learning this, of course, hip flexors to lift your leg. Where it goes, when it gets wired in, it almost feels like it's a reactive thing. Like don't imagine too literally, but like you got a banana peel on the floor and it slips out from under you. So it's more of a cat whipping its tail kind of, yes, than it is like I use these muscles and lift my leg. That's not, you have to fake it a little bit when you're learning it, but that's not the end game. The end game is I'm loaded up here and I'm relaxed but connected. So this leg naturally kicks up as a result of this hand. Does that make sense in theory? Let's try it a couple times. So, pat high horse. So I'm going to step out, I'm going to lower the hands, and I'm going to step up and my hands are in an X. But right now it's just broad brush strokes. I'm not expecting everybody to get all of that stuff. Lower the hands, open the hands. So this hand's higher and this hand's lower. That is important. And as I shift more weight onto this leg, at some point it's going to feel like I'm going to tip back. Don't let yourself tip back. Lift that leg up instead as a counterbalance. To get out of it, just so you know, you're going to step wide, shift into it, and we call it close the door. So this hand goes to here. Yeah? Yeah. So, any questions? I know that's a whole lot. Questions so far? Okay. So just think counterbalance connected leg. Like you don't want to lean back, and so you sink, and this leg kind of creates your counterbalance, right? Does that make sense in theory? Yes. Yes. Now just to contrast that, let's do a heel kick so you can feel how different that is. So we're going to stand feet together, and in this one, your hands do cross over. And it doesn't matter which one goes over which. I usually do right over left. It's not a huge deal. And so, we're going to kick with the right. So, I'm going to make all my weight shifts into this left leg. And first thing that happens is I lead with the wrists. And imagine that you have sort of like a string that as these arms come, the wrists come up, it lifts the knee up. For balance, the arms come out first, and then I kick with the leg. Then I bring it back in, set it down, and fold the arms down. So there's a sequence to it. It isn't, whoa, I mean, we call it the cheerleader kick. It's not that. Things that will help you. Bend your legs. Upper body relaxed. Lead with the wrists. The wrists then attach, so to speak, with the knee. Then the arms open. Out here, not back here. This makes it harder. They're out here, then kick. Bring it back in, down, and wrists. You do not have to kick high. This is completely correct. That's totally correct. We would rather have the mechanics and balance there than we would kicking up. Like if any of you have C.K. Chu's Principles of Practice book, this is heel kick and his foot is like way up there, which I cannot do. But the way you get that is by doing all these, the balance and the thinking what your weight is and your head suspended and all that stuff with practice lower, and then you can get higher. And then you can get like Master Gohring, who's not up here. And then you can get C.K. Chu, who's not up here. So,
Let's not forget Mr. Hunter. Let's not forget Mr. Hunter.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he could be on the ceiling.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
It's like a Mensa Kung Fu guy.
He is a Mensa Kung Fu guy. I was staring at that. That's fabulous. But so those are the two mechanics. We're obviously going to work continuously on those. We're also going to put them in sequence. There are two separates. There's a separate right foot and a separate left foot. And then heel kick, heel kick, heel kick. Just a bunch of heel kicks. But they are different, and it's very easy to kind of get the hands confused. So I want to at least expose to the differences. Any questions so far? Knowing that we will have a lot more practice?
Hands forward really helps.
The hands forward really, really does help. Absolutely. It's a very common thing for everyone to kind of end up with them back here, but really they're out here. And so, yeah, they're here. And also it separates. My hands are at different heights, but they're not out here. They're out in the front.
That hurts.
Yeah, if it hurts, don't do it. But think about your embracing horse even. So if I'm here and I'm morph, that's about how far out they are. I'm not doing the kick, but same thing. And then they're here. So all roads kind of lead back to this, your embracing horse arms. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right, so we'll pick it up with this on Thursday. Email me any questions. Same thing for if you're at home. It's a little hard to teach applications and kicks that are very three-dimensional on a camera, but we will do our best, so just send us feedback. And with that, let's go ahead and bow out with master class.
Hi, Head Instructor.
Bow to intermediate level students and students at home. Master staff training is dismissed. Good job, everybody. Good to see everyone.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.